What's up, everybody? It is your boy Slumpenstein. I'm coming at you with another video. Before we hop into this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can get notified whenever I upload new content. Go ahead and join the Slump Army. We are growing and there's going to be a lot of stuff to come. Today, we are taking a look at the 16-bit Nintendo era, and we're going to be checking out the differences of the Super Famicom, which is the Japanese-based console, and the Super Nintendo, which is obviously the American version. Now, the Super Famicom, like I said, is the Japanese iteration of what we know as the Super Nintendo. Now, if you're looking at the two controllers, you already see some differences right here. You have different colors on the buttons, which I think is more pleasing to the eyes. You got your yellow, red, blue, and green. Over here on the Super Nintendo controller, you just have that lighter purple and the two darker purples. Also, you can notice that, I don't know if you can notice it on camera, but the X and Y button are concave and the A and B button are convex. On the Super Famicom, all four of these buttons are convex. Super Famicom controller is a little bit darker. Super Nintendo controller is a little bit lighter. Besides that, everything else on the controller is basically identical. The shape of it, the weight of it is a little bit different. I would say the Super Nintendo controller is a little bit more heavy than its Super Famicom counterpart. Now, obviously, the next thing that we're going to look at is the consoles. Right here, we have the Super Nintendo, which, once again, does not look as good as the Super Famicom. And we also have, obviously, the Super Famicom. Now, if you're looking at it just plain, straight on it, obviously, the design is totally different. This looks more like a, I don't know, Brave Little Toaster knockoff type of thing, like a, I don't know, it's so blocky and everything. This just looks more pleasing. We're gonna go over it side by side. Now, on the top, as you can see, this one's a little bit darker. I can't tell if this one used to be this kind of gray, I don't know, or if they're just this dark. I'm assuming that it's just this dark because it kind of matches up with the controller. I can tell it's a little bit yellowed, but not too bad. Obviously, you got the Super Famicom logo right here. And then on here, you got your Super Nintendo logo. You got your power switch and your reset switch and then your eject button. They just look different, obviously. You got your power indication light on this one. Power indication light on that one. Two controller ports. Obviously, the Super Nintendo is not region locked. They just take different size cartridges. I'll be showing you guys the cartridges here in a minute, but it is not region locked. The Super Nintendo cartridges have a little groove cut in them, and they're different sizes, so they can't fit in here, but there's ways to mod the American Super Nintendo. There's a piece you can remove, or you can cut out a piece in your Super Nintendo and you can slide Super Famicom games in there and they will play just fine. Now, on the back of these, you have a power adapter, which is different for each one of these. And then you have your RF out, which is the same. This one says channel 1 and 2, which is the Japanese version. And obviously the American one says channel 3 and 4. And then it has the same multi-out, so that is the same. So if you have an AV cord for the Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, you can use it on either one of these, obviously. Now, if we flip these over on the back, or on the bottom, I should say, obviously you have your information. That's all basically Japanese right there. Has your serial number and stuff like that. And then you have this also, same as that one. Little extension, have that for an add-on. I think there was a, I want to say there was a disc system for the Super Nintendo also. I may be wrong on that. But yeah, same thing on this one. And that's really the differences. I mean, there's a size difference. Obviously, the Super Famicom is smaller. It's also lighter. A little bit of a different color. You know, components look different on it. Now let's compare two of the games. We're going to use two games for example. We got Tetris Attack on the left, Super Bomberman on the right, one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. And like I said, on the back of these cartridges, they do have a little notch on the American ones. And that is what keeps it going into that, and that's why this one cannot go into this console. But that's the differences for the cartridges, which I again like the Super Famicom cartridges better. There's nothing wrong with the Super Nintendo cartridges. It's just like this one better. The big Nintendo logo that they have on the back. On the back it says a Super Famicom cassette, but I don't know. It does kind of suck that there's no top label. So if you're a collector like me and you want to put your games up on the shelf like this, like you can do with the American Super Nintendo game, you can't do that anymore. And that's pretty much it, man. I mean, there are differences, obviously, especially in the console, but the controller is basically the same, just different shape of buttons and, you know, a different look to it. People say that the Japanese version, the Super Famicom, runs games at a, you know, the colors look a little bit better and the frame rate is a little better. I don't know if there's any truth to any of that. But if there is any, you know, differences that I forgot to mention, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. I would love to know it. I love, you know, looking at these consoles. I love comparing consoles and all that kind of stuff. And do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, share for a friend so they can get educated. And, you know, maybe they're trying to make a decision on getting the Famicom or the Super Nintendo. And I will catch you guys later.